What is sacred about Mauna Kea? And why do we say Mauna Kea is sacred? And so we have to be able to break that down when we say sacred, because sacred means many things. Sacred means that it's untouchable. Sacred can also be prohibited. And so we have to decide when we say Mauna Kea is sacred, what does that mean to us in our minds? And as far as being able to communicate that to other people, we can actually break it down for ourselves, for our keiki, for our mo'opuna, delano, so we can pass on that kind of ancestral knowledge. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is purely ancestral knowledge. It's not something that Pualani Kanahele made up, because Pualani Kanahele is not that smart. And so I have to ho'olohe in ha'awina o lako, in kupuna mamuo. All of us were trained in the idea of the Christian God. And the word God is a common noun. It doesn't describe, okay, but it gives us a feeling that something exists, but it doesn't describe it. Hawaiians were not like that. They didn't say gods, or they didn't say God. They gave it a name. So everything they talked about had a nomenclature attached to it. So they could recognize it right away. And they recognized it because of the energy that it put out. And so when you talk about energy, what it does is it closes in on elementals. That's what they were talking about. They were talking about the elements that lived around them. So if we look around us, go look at me. Go look around you. When you look around us, what are the elementals out there? What? The makani? And what kind of makani? One kind, two kind, three kind? Many. And for as long as we were up here, we felt all kinds of makani coming through here. Coming at us, around us, over us, pushing up, pushing down, all of that. And when we say, Aumako mai kalahiki a kalakau, from the east to the west, mai kaho'opui a kahalawai, up to the north, na aumakua, yakahinakua, those behind our back, those in front. All of that is talking about makani. All of that is talking about what else? What else is out there? Pohaku? What else is out there? Go. Take a breath. Air is out there. Okay. So we have air, we have makani, we have space. And so they gave all of these names. So they divided their whole universe horizontally and vertically. Divided the ocean horizontally and vertically. The things that actually in the ocean. And so they started from the reef all the way out. And so that was how they divided it. Vertically, they divided according to the movement of the ocean that was coming in, and how it hit the shore, and the amount of pressure it had on the shoreline. So they divided everything. They had a nomenclature or a name for every division. They divided the land horizontally and vertically according to what was growing on the land was divided horizontally. So you have the Vauakua, we have the Vaukanaka, we have the Kahawai, Kahakai, and Pilano. Okay, and so those were the horizontal divisions of the land according to what grew there. And so they knew exactly, if they gave it a name, they knew exactly what was going to grow in there. Okay. So they were very scientific in the way they observed their environment. You don't have to look at me all the time. I know I combed my hair this morning. really talking about the area out there. But today I want to talk about the space that's above us and how they divided that space into vertical and horizontal divisions. Okay. So when you look at the horizon, you cannot really see the horizon because to them, the horizon is here if you're looking from here up to the sky. But the horizon to them, with its nomenclature, begins when the ocean meets the earth. And that's kahiki moi. So ke kahiki moi, say kahiki moi. Kahiki is that space way out there. Moi is that it meets. Kahiki moi. Can you do it a little bit more enthusiasm? Oh, mahalo. Yeah, all I know. And then the spaces, everything begins to rise is kahiki ku. Kahiki ku, yes. And then you have kahiki levalani. Kahiki levalani. And then we have the kahiki, wait, I'm going to think of. Kahiki right above the trees. And then you have the very top, there's you have kahiki ku, and then you have kahiki papa nu'u. Papa nu'u is when you're down near the ocean and you see the clouds rising, coming from the ocean, and it's just above your head. That's papa nu'u. Say kahiki papa nu'u. Okay, with the clouds above the head. Now, if the space above that is kahiki papalani. Kahiki papalani. The clouds that you see that come in and hit the top of the mountain over here is papanu'u. So it comes right in over the forest. And then it dumps all of its water onto the forest. And it pulls the water up of the forest, and then it goes around in a cycle. It goes back out in transpiration, and it swallows it, the air swallows it back out. Then it moves back out into the ocean, and then it picks up some of the ocean transpiration, and it comes back in, and it goes on all the time. The cycle goes on all the time. Okay? And it comes up against the mountain, and it does it again. Kahiki papa nu'u. That's the top. After that, where you don't have as many clouds, is kahiki papalani. The top of these mountains are in kahiki papalani. And then after that, it's in Wakea. And so Wakea is the greater space, the greater expanse. So you know the story about Wakea, Hanau, Wakea with Papa, with Haumea, and with Ho'okukalani, and Hanau Haloa. Okay, so it sounds like it's an X-rated movie. Okay, right? So you have this male figure and all the different female figures. So we have to think about what they were talking about. They put it into stories because that's how we can remember it. As regular, everyday people, that's how we're going to remember it. But they really were talking about time and space. Okay. So the Wakea to there is this greater space. That's Wakea. And how does the Wakea interact with Papa, who is very female, with Haumea, who is very female, and with Ho'okukalani to get Haloa. And what is Haloa? Ha-loa. Just break down the word. Ha-loa. Long breath. And what is long breath? Life. Life. Okay? And that's how you get life. The interference of those things up there, and Wakea is very male. And male forms kind of pushes, and they're aggressive, okay? So they're pushing down into the earth. The female forms were meant to receive and to break it down, okay, or to give birth to. And so this reaction between the sky and the things that's going on in the earth is what they're talking about. But it is what our ancestors knew. And so it was a different way of looking at the interaction. Okay. So they put it into big stars, and the stars went on and on and on until people forgot what they were really talking about. And so not all people can maintain their intelligence at the level of kahunas. And it was necessary for kahunas because we live out here in the middle of the ocean and we have to survive. Okay? And so they did all of these separations, and they made sure they knew their elemental systems around them so that they could continue advising people, looking at what's going on so that they continue to survive. They will know the prognostication of the sky and what kind of clouds are gathering out there and whether it's harmful to you or not. And so if we talk about Lono, and so I don't know, I'm skipping all over. Yeah. If you have any questions, just raise your hand, please. I'll be really, really happy to answer your question. Because I don't know where you are, and I don't know whether you heard this before. This is old stuff, this is new stuff. Okay, so, your questions will kind of help me guide. Otherwise, I'm just going, no, I forgot where I was. Okay. I'm aiming to it, so up and down. Okay, I was talking about Lono. Okay. Lono is Papa Nu'u. Papa Nu'u is where Lono dwells. And Lono dwelling in Papa Nu'u is what we call in English the Earth's atmosphere. Okay. Earth's atmosphere only comes that high. And so, if you go up there, you're out of the Earth's atmosphere. You're in Pualani. And so that's one of the reasons that's sacred. Okay, so we're going to break that down. And so, you're in Pualani. So Lono comes off in a Papa Nu'u. And he brings the clouds with him in the Earth's atmosphere. One of the things, a few weeks ago, when you looked at the sunrise and the sunset from here, what you saw in sunrise and sunset is the effect of the sun on the atmosphere, which turned the clouds all red on both sides, right? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. That is what we call a Lono Ika'ole lani. Lono Ika'ole lani. Oli is a prognostication of what's going on. Okay, the idea of the Oli lani is it telling you that there are storms coming. Okay, just the color itself. But the prognostication of Lono at that level tells you that something's going to happen other than a clear day. Okay. So you pay attention to that kind of prognostication. Okay, and so that's Lono. That's where Lono dwells, in that particular space. And so when we have any kind of questions or stories of Lono, first and foremost, Lono is there. Okay. When the rain comes down, Lono will follow that rain down. And sometimes when we look in the tarali and we see the water in the top of the tarali, that water has not touched earth. So it still belongs to Lono. So the water is still sacred to the falling from the space of Lono. Okay. So anyway, when you talk about God, that's a nomenclature. And so you call it by its nomenclature. You don't say just God because it doesn't define anything. Okay. The other nomenclature that I want us to think about, because we hear a lot about it in our association with Kamehameha or the warrior chiefs, etc., is ku. Say ku.
Ku.
And, thank you very much. And so when we talk about ku does not have a tangibility. like any of the others, is not tangible, or it is not tangible. Ku is a process of growth. So anytime the rain comes down and trees begin to grow, that's Ku. Anytime the bush begins to grow, that's Ku Pulu Pulu. Okay, Ku ka ohi alaka. Okay, the growth of ohia, because of this movement, the natural movement upward. And all of us go through the process of Ku. We all grow. And so when they associate Ku with the chiefs, what they're associated with is growth, but growth as far as acquiring things. And so when you talk about the chiefs, it's an accusation. I mean, it's a, how do you say it? Thank you. Acquisition of property, acquisition of land, acquisition of power, that's cool. Okay. Acquisition of emotion that's growing, that's cool. Okay. Acquisition of being aggressive, that's cool. But it's a natural process. And so all of these ideas of God has to do with your natural process of existing in the space. Okay, and so those are the two. So you have Ku Pulu Pulu, Ku Ohi Alaka, Ku Kamea Kamea, Ku Kamea Kamea. You just have a whole list of them. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is start breaking down the nomenclatures. Okay, nomenclatures are like Ku Ka Ohi Alaka. Okay, so you have several words over there. Ku is the energy. Ka Ohi Alaka is what the energy is being given to. Okay, it's been given to the Ohia. So that's how you break it down. So if you have Ku Pulu Pulu, the energy of growth is being given to the Pulu Pulus. You know, the little growth that you, and sometimes with the little growth. And so if you look at the other possibilities, so you look at Kani and Kanaloa, which is the bigger of the elementals. And so if you look at Kanaloa, which is really an interesting one for a long, say Kanaloa. What do you know about Kanaloa?
Sea God.
Yeah, you gotta talk loud because I hear. Just shout it out. Shout it out. Go.
Ocean.
Ocean. Okay. What? Depth. Depth of the ocean.
Deep knowledge.
Deep knowledge? Okay, depth, deep knowledge, ocean. So what does that have anything to do with anything as far as life-giving is concerned?
Life-giving force.
Life-giving force of? Oxygen. Oxygen. Rio Kanaloa, oxygen. Say that. Rio Kanaloa, oxygen. That's where our oxygen comes from the ocean. We get pure oxygen coming out of there. We're so fortunate to live in the middle of a big ocean. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Okay, so the idea of Kanaloa is that there are multiples of tens, and it goes on and on and on and on, and it lasts a long time. That's the idea of Kanaloa. You know, I was watching a film sometime months ago, and it's called One Strange Rock. Okay, did you see that?
Oh, yes.
It's really, really good. And Will Smith is the narrator in there, and it's about the guys that go over the big rock. What's their name?
Astronaut.
The astronauts, thank you. It's about the astronauts that goes around the Earth in the big rockets to discover one thing or other. And it's their impression of observation of what's happening on Earth. And so they saw this big cloud going from Africa to South America over the Atlantic. watched it. Day after day after they passed, they watched it. And what's happening in Africa is that the Africans were digging up an old ocean floor to get salt. And when they dig up the old ocean floor and the wind comes in Africa, it picks all of that up and it blows it as one big cloud over the ocean to South America, to the Amazon, over the trees of the Amazon, staying in the Papa Nu'u. It stays in the Papa Nu'u, doesn't go any higher than that, because that's the Lono zone, that's the Earth atmosphere. And then it dumps itself on the trees in the Amazon. And what it does, it breaks it down, breaks down the things of the earth and help fertilize it. That comes from the bottom of the ocean. That's what Kanaloa is doing. And so we have, do you have any questions about that? You know, I want to tell you, but I recognize it. Whoa, that's Kanaloa. You know, and the recognition of that is the idea that we have to know what the association of Kanaloa is to this whole scheme of life. That's it. Okay? It's giving out oxygen. It's giving out life. It's giving out the material that can break down the top part of the earth so that it makes fertilizer. So things will begin to grow. Okay, so, you know, people can go out and get all the scientific terms for that. I don't know that. But the idea, the name for that is Kanaloa Hauna Vela. Kanaloa Hauna Vela. And Hauna is, Hauna Vela, Kanaloa is the one that we see in the Kumulipo in verse 8, where you say, Hanau kia kua okane, hanau okane, hanau o Kanaloa hauna vela. And so the first thing you think of when you say hauna, because hauna sort of is, you know, it's not very pleasant. It smells awful. And you know, when you go to the alkaline ponds, and you see it mixing up and getting all hot and all, that's the Kanaloa vela. That's what it's doing. It's mixing up so that they come up with different bacterial molecules, you know, and eventually it helps them to the earth. So everything that goes down and mixes up comes out. Okay? But this is the idea of Kanaloa vela. It's a good thing. And our kupunas knew about that. They knew the earth and they knew it well. And so it's kind of, you know, kind of kaumaha for me. When people came from other other lands and said, we don't know anything. We didn't know anything. We just know very simple things. That's eha. And especially when they didn't know us. And we believe them. That's the other thing, we believe them because they talk with such authority. And so, yeah, so don't believe anybody anymore. You are who you are. You will know what you know. You know, only accept those things that you think is helpful to you. Otherwise, chuck it. Chuck it. Okay, now that's Kanaloa. Now, Kanaloa interacts with Lono. And in one of the lines, in one of the chants that we do, it says, Kanaloa Lono Kapau. Okay, so we're saying Kanaloa, that rises off of the ocean. Lono is the bridge. Lono Kapau. What does that mean? That means that this bridge runs horizontal. Okay, so again, the horizontal and the vertical division. These bridges run horizontal, which means it runs straight across the land like that and feeds each other. That's the bridge. The continuous feeding, one into the other, the ocean to the Papa Nu'u. Okay, so that's the reaction of Kanaloa and Lono. Constant reaction between the two. So we're going to call them Kanaloa and Lono from now on. Okay? And instead of gods, Kanaloa Lono, the god names, They got last name, they got first name, there's that you, call them. The other thing we're going to talk about is Kane. Say Kane. Kane is perhaps the most dominant. And Kane, the energy of Kane is heat. Okay. So the sun itself is not Kane, but the heat that emanates from it is Kane. And Kane is also in the earth, and the heat that comes out of the earth and melts our stones so that we can have land to live on. That's Kane. Okay. So Kane that comes from the sky, Kane that comes from the earth, and all of us in ourselves have a bit of Kane in us because we have an electrical pulse that helps us to live. It continues to help us to live. And all living creatures have that pulse. They have a bit of Kane in them. The space above us and the air around us also have that Kane around us. And that's why the other night we saw lightning and thunder, Kane he kili. Okay, Kane that is in the form of the lightning. Kane that is in the form of the lightning because that is a form of electrical manifestation of heat and what Kane is all about. So sometimes you see the heat, sometimes you don't see the heat, but in many cases you're going to feel it. So the idea of the one line that says Kane o ku kapao. Okay, so Kane ku that we talked about earlier, that guy, is the bridge for Kane. So it's a vertical bridge. And so it's a movement up and down. So the idea of Kane o Kukapao and that vertical bridge is that whatever is up there will permeate in the air, very, very male. Okay. And what does it mean when it's permeating through Pualani and Nu'u? What is it doing? It's energy of the light of the sun, of the heat that's out there, and what does Lono and Kanaloa help do? Block off that energy that is not helpful or is not healthy to us. It blocks up that energy. But it allows it to come through, so the basic thing is it helps things to grow. Okay. It gives us an energy to grow. And so they sort of knew about that reaction between Kane, Kanaloa, Lono and Ku. And so when we say Kane, we chant every day, Kane Olanie, Kane Olanie. By the way, some of your chanting is not impressive. It's not, because you're chanting like this. Nobody would hear you. Don't waste your time. Okay. So when you go to chant, what the idea of chanting, so I'm getting off the idea of chanting is you want to make a difference in the movement of the space, the movement of the air. You want to send it out there, and so it becomes, it begins to, what the word?
It's vibration.
Vibration, thank you. You're reading my mind over here. Okay, there's a vibration. That's why we chant. We're trying to make the air a little bit different, and we're vibrating out there. And so in vibrating, you're sending messages out there so that the vibration actually touches these different areas that will cause change. That's what we're doing. So it's greetings to us. And you only chant for yourself. You don't chant for anybody else. Okay? It's just you and that entity out there. So when we go to the word Kane Pualani, we're saying Kane who is, in this case, who is the what friend or who is the companion of the greater sky, because it lights up the sky. That's what we're chanting too. But if we say something like Kane Ika, we're saying the heat, Kane, so we're putting that elemental first. The heat that causes water, that gives life. Okay, so the E tells you what it is the cause of. Okay, so heat is what we get our water from. Is the causative of heat, and because that's the way it begins to go into transpiration. It's because of heat. Yeah. Say yes, Paul.
Yes,
I think you're falling asleep. Okay, so you look at how they break down the nomenclatures. And so if it has an E, then it says it is the cause of. Okay, but it doesn't have E, and then so if you just have Kane e Kili, then it's just the direct electricity that is the heat. Okay. But if it says an E, that means it's a causative of something else. Okay. But all of these have nomenclatures, they all have names, but they have four basic natural phenomena of the elements that they name. One is Kane, the other is Kanaloa, the other is Ku, and the other is Lono. Those are the four basics. So far, I talked about male entities, okay, or the activity of how males are and how aggressive they are. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about femaleness. Okay, the idea of Haumea, the idea of Pelehonua, the idea of Papahana, Moku, and Pelano. So, Lady Josephine, which one shall I go to first? Let's go to Haumea. Yeah. So, are you acquainted with Haumea? Okay, we have many stories of Haumea as Earth Mother. And in the Kumulipo in Umikumakolo 13, it says, Ana o Haumea hevahine nohoya kanaloa akua. So it's saying, Haumea was born a female. You know, in that chapter is really tricky. You gotta pay attention to, because in a Kumulipo, it's usually driven by males. And so males are born first, then they mate with the female, and then is born the next session. Then they mate with the female, and so the female is always kind of secondary. So the male is very aggressive. But in that chapter, the female comes first. So the females take lead. So something else is happening in the minds of our kupuna at that particular time. The realization of the importance of femaleness is happening at that time. Okay, and so in that where it says, Haumea is born, she's a female, and she lives or she sits or she resides with Kanaloa Akua. And so just the thing that I was talking about this big dust storm that's coming from Africa and landing onto the Amazon canopies, that is exactly Haumea and Kanaloa Haunavera. That's exactly what it's doing. Okay, so you get the picture? Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, I know it. Hawaiians are so smart. Okay, I love smart people. Okay, that's why I married my husband, who is smart. Wasn't rich, but smart. Okay, okay, but that is exactly what it's saying when it's saying, Hanao Haumea no ya kanalo akua. So you have to be able to see in certain lines in the chant what they're describing. And that described it exactly. Okay, and so you have to open your mind to, okay, this is this. Now, and then it goes down from that particular line, and then it talks about all the different female entities that are born after her. And then it takes this group of female entities. Oh no, wait, before I talk about that, it talks about all these female entities, and then they go through a ceremony. And the ceremony has to be with females. And one of they're saying in the ceremony is that Kanakaole and the searching of the Na'au to the Po'o, and then Hanau Makalolo. Okay, things are actually first, and knowledge and wisdom is just born from the head. And so they're saying that within the Na'au of the females were born this intelligence. And they're searching their Na'au and the DNA for earlier kinds of incredible lessons that they have learned. And pulling it together, eventually realizing what it's doing, and then they came out with all of these wonderful things of what actually is happening in the environment from a female point of view instead of from a heavily male point of view. And so they have this group of names after they have all of this ceremonial Kanakaole run through the brain. Okay, and so all of us females should go through the ceremony of Kanakaole. Well, I guess males can go through, I don't know, but I only know what female is. Now, the idea of all of this group of names that is born after Haumea, you go switch over to chapter 15 in the Kumulipo. They have all the same group of names. At this time, they're grouped with or paralleled with a male form. Okay, and it says that Haumea lived with this Mopuna for so many years. Haumea lived with the next Mopuna for so many years. Haumea lived with the next Mopuna for not so many years. But when they're saying Mopuna, they're also giving a female name, and the person they lived with, female name, and the entity that they lived with, etc. Male, female, but always leading with the male. Okay, so you have to look at what is Haumea all about. So one of the things about language is, especially knowing French, is that it's descriptive. And so because it is descriptive, you take each of the words in it and you break it down. You deconstruct it immediately. And what is Haumea? When you deconstruct Haumea, or how, they have all of these definitions after Haumea, after the idea of how. And how only has one. How is when you beat something out. How is the how tree, and in order to make the how tree useful, you got to beat it out, okay, etc. That kind of thing. But throughout all the definitions of how, it does the same thing over and over. It beats it down. It beats it down. It beats it down. That's the kind of definition how has. And so what does that mean in relationship to all of these female names and the male names? So you got to go back to the female names and the male names. What it's doing is it's breaking down the earth. It's breaking down the top layer of the earth. So it begins to grow. Because the female entities only exist in the top layers of the earth. That's where things grow. Okay. So it breaks it down so things will begin to pop up. So there, the female entity can begin their work of bringing life to the land. And that's what it's all about. So I go to Pelehonuamea, the idea of Pelehonuamea. Is that, and why we should do so many dances with Pelehonuamea. If you're sitting down here and if you're standing up there, you're Pelehonuamea. We cannot get away from it. It's the land we live on. And so, but Pelehonuamea comes out of the depth of our land. But it comes out of the depth of our land with the help of red stuff is coming out of the ground. When it comes up and it catches on fire, it's become part of the Lonomakua. It only catches on fire in flames if it has oxygen. If it doesn't have oxygen, no flames. You just have the big blob coming up, okay, and floating. Okay. But Pele Honua Mea's function is to make land. Whether it goes and covers your house and covers all the trees, but its main function is to extend islands. When the island starts to fall down into, turn into sand on this side, it's an erosional process already. Okay, so we're fortunate to have a live volcano in the east, so we can continue to have land. And so that is the function of that. The idea is the function of the hi'iakas is that once the lava comes up, it starts moving, it's hi'iakas. There's a different kinds of hi'iakas. Hi'iaka kapolio pele that we hear so much about. Say hi'iaka kapolio pele. Thank you. Hi'iaka kapolio pele is really something that is part of the filter that comes down from the sun. You know, it's the thing that makes things grow on new lava. But it's that energy, the sun energy, that makes things grow on new lava. That's hi'iaka kapolio pele. When you say poli, that means on the very top of pele, or that lava form, or that earth that has just been developed. And hi'iaka is the kaula of growth. She is the main source of growth. He can first start to grow. That's a hi'iaka. And he grows with the idea of the sun. And so, again, you have all of these nomenclatures. They have names. Know the names. Use the names. Don't say God. Don't say goddess. Use the names. Because it was definite, you become more definite, you have an idea of who and what you're talking about. And your person you're talking to will also have that idea of who and what you're talking about. Okay, what else I was going to say?
Why does the mom say grandma?
Yeah, wait. You're not the teacher. Okay. Wait, I jumped on a few notes. Okay, just now. Yeah, why is the mountain sacred? Of the where, okay, so where it's located. And so what about where it's located?
In the heavens.
It belongs to Wake, it belongs to the Pualani. It belongs to the Pualani. And what do we have or don't we have in the Pualani? So remember I said sacred was both beneficial and prohibited. Yeah, so what do we have and what don't we have in the Pualani?
Don't have human beings.
Why?
Because it's not their area to be in.
Why?
Not enough oxygen.
No oxygen. No oxygen. Basically, no oxygen. We cannot breathe up there. We have no business in a place we cannot breathe. And it's sacred for that reason because it's prohibitive to our body. Our body have limitations. That's the limitation. But it does belong to Wakea. It does belong up there. It doesn't belong to us. And so that is one of the reasons it's sacred. Why else is it sacred? We have a list of things why it's sacred. Let's go. Name it all.
Down to the center of the earth.
I beg your pardon?
Down to the center of the earth. Down to the center of the earth.
So you said down to the center of the earth. One of the things that we didn't mention about Mauna Kea is that it is the Eevee of this island. It is the Eevee. And by the Eevee, I mean, it's made up of a lot of the Koi rocks that build the islands. So if you've seen any of the islands out there like Nimoa, Mokumanamana, and Niihau, and part of Kauai. What you see as it begins to break down the cliffs are eevees of the Ko'i rocks that rises horizontally. Okay, the other rocks rises horizontally. The Ko'is rise vertically. Yeah. And so they become the eevee of the island. They keep the island together. And so once they start breaking down the top of the island, or the top of the pole of the eevee, then it all begins to scatter. It begins to erode at the top. And it's not good for our island. Eventually, Mauna Kea doesn't have the eevee. But eventually, when it rises to an expected height, it will be the eevee. It will be higher than this. But when it looks across in the north, you'll see that if you continue to build up there, it will erode a lot faster than it's eroding now. Okay. And so that's the danger of having the buildings up there. And so why else is it sacred?
Holds the water.
Pardon?
It holds the water.
It holds water, okay? And the very top of the mountain is what we call ohe, the aupua of Ka'ole. What is the ohe? The bamboo. And the ohe was looked at as being that trough of water that water flows through, and it has the little chunks of spaces that you keep water in the ohe. And the idea of Ka'ole as the aupua is supposed to have that reaction. And keeping the water within each of these chunks is like having a whole something of water. I forget. And but the Ka'ole begins in Hamakua, and I'm going to think of the aupua in a minute. And I think that it's not Paulo, this way somewhere. No, between Paulo and Okala. Anyway, it begins down here, and then it comes up kind of big, and then it gets really small up on the top of the mountain. And then Hula is down here, it's someplace, and then you go straight across to Mauna Loa. And to the top of Mauna Loa. So it's a very long aupua. But what that tells you is that there is water source. And our kupunas knew it, and so they gave it that name. We also have a ka'ohe in Puna. We have a ka'ohe in Ka'u, but actually it's in Kona, in the south part of Kona. And so it does the exact same thing. Okay. It is water source. It is underground water. So we have to pay attention to those names. Again, the nomenclatures of the land. And so the idea that it does have water, and the water is going across this way, and Pohakuloa is bombing the water. That's what they're doing. They're bombing our water source. So another city.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to start that. How else is it sacred? How else is it coupled for us?
Watch the wind. Watch the big wind.
Okay? What the big wind?
Big winds. Hurricanes.
Oh, yeah.
Provides a
It's a super
shelter.
duper mountain. Okay, he's talking about the possibility of the hurricane, because you know the hurricane started almost the same time we started, way out in the East Pacific. Okay, and so it started up there, it started coming in, and we did all of our jets coming in, and then it went north and south. We still got a tip of it, but it still went north and south. But it's done that for years. If you look at how the hurricane acts around this mountain, it'll split. And if you're aware of how wind reacts, You know that when wind is going, the tip of the wind, whatever it touches, pushes, and it pushes the greater wind force. And so that's kind of what our mountain does, according to Pua. You know, that's not scientific, but makes common sense. You know, because I go out and water my plants, same thing. But that's kind of why the mountain is one of the sacredness of the mountain. Or, okay, what else? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas, or 4 reasons. What else?
Iave, the Iave, San Wayao.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's another. Okay, Wayao. What's Wayao all about? It's about Hawaii. What do you think was it?
Came across from
Permafrost? But what do you think was in their home? It was a crater. It was a crater. And what crater do we have now that's beginning to gather water? Halima'uma'u. Okay. And in a few years, Halima'uma'u is going, or the volcano is going to be lakeland. So buy your land now. To me, that's what it's going to do. Yeah. And so the volcano, the tubes, are going to pass it on to some other. Probably where fishery is right now. We'll have a big volcano there. Pu'o is huge volcano. And it's going to go on. But the idea of Waiau, where it gathers water. You have other places that gather water too. On Kauai, they have an old volcano that gathers water. And it's close to the ocean, but it still gathers water. So you have all of these different old volcanoes that has permafrost, that have certain kind of sediment that allows it to gather water and not just leak through with the kind of horizontal rocks that's around. Okay, why else is it sacred? Okay, we have 5 solid reasons.
Hi.
Go into that realm.
Okay, it's just because it provides access to going to the realm. We don't want to go into the realm very often. Okay, we're not tourists. You know, tourists can be harmful to many places because you know it's a economy kind of thing, and tourists pay to go to certain places. And so they think that it's all right for them to go up on a mountain and see all these beautiful sights. But what it's doing is that it's actually harmful to the site to have all these places. It was not meant for regular people to go up there. So regular people, like me and my mother folks, never went up there. And so we left that for those who had business up there. Okay. So we don't all have to go to Mauna Kea to send off our leo or to send off our puli. We can do it wherever we are or whatever pool we're standing on. We don't have to go up there. We can know that it exists. Okay, why else? Okay, so it gathers snow from the Pualani and that kind of clouds that come in. By the way, the clouds usually above Pualani are usually cloudy clouds and not Mauna clouds. Okay, anyway, snow. What else?
our Ali's bones are buried there.
I don't know if that's a reason why, but I think that the reason the bones are buried there is because they have some respectful height to be buried. So it's an honor for them to be buried there. And that's the other thing when we talk about bones. Where are the bones up there? And And so whether the bones were dug out and thrown over the side because they were building these mountains, yeah, we have to really look at that and retrieve some of the bones and rebury some of them in its respectful way. The other reason that it's special is because of the Apamano'o clouds that's coming in, and it comes up against the mountain and it goes back down. And so it allows the cycle. That's what this mountain is doing. It's allowing the cycle of water. And so when we talk about that chant that they do day after day, Hanau Kamauna, Hanau Keiki Awakia, talking about the water that comes up against them and eventually feeds the earth. Eventually it goes down as river. Eventually waters all of the plants. Eventually gives us water. So for all of those reasons, Mauna Kea is sacred. It is our both our male entity that is very aggressive, and it is the privilege of having it in the nu'u of Pualani. And so, if you don't have questions, Paul. No questions? Yeah.
No, you mentioned Kauai and the lake near the ocean. I believe you're talking about Nomilu.
Yeah.
So there's talk about, there's Mo'olelo that says there's a lava tube that connects. Have you ever heard anything?
Yeah, I've heard that. There's a lava tube that connects from that Nomilu is what she said, the name of the basin of water on Kauai, and it's on the south shore. And so the idea of there is a lava tube that connects there, that particular to some of the lava tubes that we have here. Okay, and that's another study we do. It's a good study, by the way. So I'm going to just mention it a little bit. And we started studying the uprights. There's uprights over here. When I say uprights, they're built on a platform, and then they have these rocks standing up like this. If you've ever been up to the top, you see them standing. And they also have them on Mauna Loa, and Mokumanamana have all of these uprights. There's big crowds of them. The whole island is covered. And so the mystery of what the heck is that about? There's no written material on it, and yet it still exists. And so because it is a cultural feature and it exists in its place that it was built, that alone should give you information. So when the national park, because we've been going to Mokumanamana and looking at all of these uprights, and when we went to the national park, they asked us to look at their uprights at the western area of the mountain ridge, Mauna Loa's ridge, that goes down to the south. We made a study up there of it, and when we actually looked, and I think Kale and Pua did a little bit about this in a workshop that they had across there, but cutting it short, what the result is that when the uprights are, for us, these uprights that we saw, the back of it is to the north-northwest. And so you have part of Mauna Loa that comes and covers it like this. And so the North Star is like in this direction. And they always looked at the North Star for their location, as to where they are and how they built. What they did with this is watch the North constellations come and set on the Manamanas. And so when you trace season, you have different stars setting on the Manamanas. What it does, what we did is we take different compasses, and right in front of the Manamana, there's the upright here, and right in front over here is a compass stone. And a compass stone measure every one of these Manamanas. And so you take compass, any kind of compass you can get a hold of, or GPS, and you measure all of these, and then you send the measurement all the way up. And So what we're looking at is exactly that, the formation of volcanoes. And where the stars are falling has to do location of islands. And so it lines up with location of islands, but it also lines up with volcanoes. And the volcanoes tells you, and this is the time of Umi. The mother was smart. You know, we give him a lot of credit because he did all of the study. And what he was doing is looking at how the islands were moving down through the volcano, to the ocean, and what direction it was taking, but where it was coming from. Okay, so location of stars gives you location of islands, gives you and then the movement down. But we can also stand over here and look back at the movement up. And so we have all of these chances. About how the Pele migration came down from the north and they landed on all of these islands. What is the Pele migration? The Pele migration is eruption. The Pele migration are craters. The Pele migration are the movement of that magma under the ocean. And so this particular manamana, or a pahu manamana, and pahu manamana means an intersection. This particular pahu manamana was built on two lava tubes, right at the apex of two lava tubes. And one lava tube running northeast and the other northwest. And up to the light volcano of Mauna Kea. So again, that kind of connection. And yeah, and that particular study just gives you the connections. Tells you what crater is connected to what crater is connected. It's wonderful. Okay, yeah, questions?
I just have one question. There was an article from UH, and a geologist said that the telescope and the telescopes that are up here won't affect the water table until maybe 7,000 years later, if it does have a spill. And so I just wanted to, talk a little bit about the importance of light and what happens at the top, how it affects everything underneath, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be 7,000 years from now.
The question over here, the comment over here is, how does the scientists are saying that the building up here and the building of the telescope doesn't affect the quality of water that's under there, that's being collected under there. Anything that's on top also always affects the quality, no matter what. What soaks through the earth is affecting the quality of what eventually gets under there. Hopefully it has enough of the drainage system under there to take care of some of that. But to me, the biggest possible damage is erosion. And the cutting off of that top of the mountain, that's the damage. I think the earth will filter it. Yeah. But when they do the damage like that, it's not going to have that long-lasting appeal to the water table. That's the very top. Okay, no more questions?
So you're saying that it's irreversible once they do that, once they damage it?
No, I'm not saying. I say if they continue to do it, then we'll have more erosion at the top. And then the water that filters through will probably already affect the top table. Okay, then there is damage to the rest of the water table, the ohe, the idea of the ohe. Okay, we're Pao. Mahalo. And when you look out, you have to know what you're looking at. It's just going to be space. Now you have some idea of what that space is and how it's related to it. See it from those eyes. Okay, mahalo. Have a good day.